All right. So, hey there, everyone. I am Kim Snyder, for those of you who do not know me. And I want to welcome you to tonight's Sales Funnel Masterclass. Tonight, what I'm going to do is show you how to double your expert business, 13x profits, and take more out of your business for yourself without having to create a bunch of blog posts, do podcasts, have a big email list, or even a big ad budget. Now, I'm guessing that for a lot of you, this is probably not your first webinar. And the first thing I want to assure you is that if you've failed at online sales funnels in the past, it's not your fault, because there is so much information out there and it can be really, really confusing. So, many times it's that information overload that's exactly what's keeping you from succeeding. So it's kind of an oxymoron, but so it's no wonder really that you haven't been able to create a profitable growth funnel. And another thing, if it seems that everyone else is successful with online funnels, or at least claims to be, and you're not, then I want to put those fears to rest as well. Two things here. When you see things on social media, or even my webinar title, remember that is someone else's middle. At one point, they were also where you are. We all were. So you have to be really careful about getting discouraged because you're comparing your beginning to someone else's middle. You can absolutely, positively, definitely do what I'm going to show you this evening. You just need the right person to explain it to you in the right way. See, the internet marketing gurus, they all want you to think that you need this big content creation machine or a huge team and budget to be successful. And I am here tonight to tell you that they are wrong. They have their own reasons for wanting you to think that, but it's not true. If you've ever thought that to yourself, that what works for the big guys just doesn't work for small businesses like ours, well, you are right. Because here's the thing. We have very different constraints than them, less resources, shorter time horizons, shorter attention spans, and a lot less margin for error. So that's what we're here for. Because I know that you, as an expert business owner, have a dream to change the world, or make an impact with your business and make a nice living, maybe more than a nice living. And I want to show you how to make that happen during this webinar. Does that sound good? Cool. Because my goal for this presentation is to help two types of people. For those of you who are struggling, your business is stagnated or stopped growing, you're maybe just making enough sales to torture yourself to death and can't seem to get your head around this new way of growing your business, you are going to get a step-by-step recipe book that tells you exactly what to do and what order to do it in. No need for interpretation or guessing. And for those of you who already have a successful growing business, then you're going to get the secret to wringing more profit out of the assets that you already have and the work that you've already done. Make sense? And by the time we finish tonight, my goal is for you to understand in your bones that the only way for us to exponentially grow a micropreneurial venture, which I define as 1 to 5 people doing 2 million or less in revenue, is by focusing on the bottom of the funnel. And that the only way and best way to accomplish the sorts of results that I'm going to share with you tonight is through the reverse funnel building process. Now, tell you a little story. I was talking with one of my reverse funnel workshop members. We were on a one-on-one call, and I started talking with him about the first course that I created. I'm going to date myself. Back then, there was no such thing as an online course. And as I was talking to him, suddenly it dawned on me that, I don't know when or why, but I had just stopped talking about that course. For some reason, I only ever talk about the fact that we were number 826 on the Inc. list. Well, that little course that I created in 2001 to date has sold over $31 million. And even though we sold the company earlier this year, it's still going. And in fact, they tell me that financial seminars are coming back into vogue again. So that's kind of cool. We've, full circle. So here's the backstory. I invented a method of investing back in the late 1990s after a very well-known Wall Street brokerage firm lost everything that I had made when the first company I worked for out of college went public. And I started teaching my investment strategy to a couple of friends in late 99. It's kind of hard to call it a strategy back then because it was pretty loose, and I'm bad with dates, but I know that must be right because it was just as the internet bubble was bursting. And so tonight is kind of reminiscent of the early days. My friend / students and we would go to this Owens Family Restaurant off of LBJ Freeway in Dallas, where I lived at the time, on Wednesday evenings, in fact. And I would just sit there and brain dump on them. But like nothing prepared, wasn't pretty and polished. It was just me getting what I was doing myself intuitively out of my head in a way that they could model. Well, over a period of a few years, of course, it wasn't loose anymore. It became this very strictly codified system of investing for retirement that made a lot of people a lot of money. Especially those early adopters who hung out with me at Owens. And so just to give you an idea, at one point, there was over $500 million invested in the Snyder Method. And what I am proudest of is that those who followed the system were able to successfully navigate the financial crisis without losing their retirement savings, while others all around them were wiped out. Now, you may be wondering what all that has to do with you. Well, when I taught investing in personal finance, I believed in the core of my being that knowing how to invest your own money was a critical life skill, like swimming, right? That everyone has to be able to do it in order to live 30 plus years in retirement without ending up under a bridge eating cat food. And yet, none of us were taught. We only learned the way that makes Wall Street rich, not what's best for you. So this is a little bit like deja vu, because guess what? The ability to acquire a new client at a profit is the single most important skill a small business owner can have, also like swimming or investing. In fact, the ability to create a client at a profit is business. If you can't do it and you rely on someone else to do it for you, you don't have a business, they do. And I'm equally horrified that we are being taught the wrong way to do it. Now, we just covered 17 years of my life in under a minute. And you may be wondering how I got from inventing a retirement investment method to online sales funnels and Facebook ads. And I don't blame you. So let me see if I can fill in the gap here real fast. My husband and I retired from our investment firm in 2009, and when we retired to Aiken, South Carolina in 2011. This is a picture of our downtown. And the only problem was that he had no problem being retired, and I just could not keep still. So I had this idea that I was going to build the first online instruction site for polo players, because we didn't have anything like that. I play polo. We're probably the only sport that doesn't. And so I did build that. I ended up selling it to the United States Polo Association. But it was really fun for about a year because I was traveling all around the world, filming the world's best polo players. And while I was working on polo skills, I got involved with Infusionsoft. That was our back end. And then I became an Infusionsoft certified partner. Well, after I sold Polo Skills, I ended up creating an Infusionsoft custom development shop called the API Guys. Mainly because the USPA needed help supporting Polo Skills for a while. And there was, turns out, a huge need for our services. So it just took off. And we were at like 400,000 in revenue within a year, no marketing, no nothing, just word of mouth. And even though it was a great business and really profitable, it just wasn't a great business for me. I did not enjoy it. So I sold it to my project manager, Monica Burton. And then it got really interesting. So about the time I was selling the API Guys, I was approached by someone in the Infusionsoft world who was supposedly this big hotshot marketing guy and big into Facebook about partnering on a piece of software that synced the contacts in Infusionsoft with Facebook so that you could tell Facebook to send those specific people an ad. It's sort of like saying to send an email to this list, except you're telling Facebook to show them an ad instead of sending them an email. Same idea. So the guy, my partner, was supposed to do all the marketing, and I was going to handle the development side, which was great because I really hadn't had to do, to market anything online. I mean, I used mass media to grow Snyder Advisors, specifically radio. And then everything I had built since, fortunately, was just organic growth in a niche market. So let's just say that partnership did not go well and leave it at that. And when it broke up, I ended up with the company and the software, which was renamed Sync2CRM. And suddenly I had a real problem, which was that I had to learn all this new stuff, or I was going to lose my investment in Sync2CRM. And that was a lot of money, and I was not willing to let that happen. So I am not ashamed to say that I was really intimidated at first, especially with Facebook ads. Without even knowing anything or trying anything, just on the face of it, I just thought it was complicated, and that I was sure I was going to lose a lot of money trying to figure it all out. So I started doing what everyone does, right? I was taking courses, reading books, listening to gurus on podcasts, and everyone, to a man or woman, all said the same thing. They all preach top-down content first funnels. So that was what I did. So let me just explain the top-down funnel real quick. You start by creating a bunch of valuable content to warm up new leads. Then you show a Facebook ad to the people who visited your content to get them to opt into your lead magnet, right? This is called list building. Then you offer them a cheap tripwire offer to pay for your ads and theoretically change the relationship from prospect to customer. And then finally, you offer them your core product or service. Now, there are 3 glaring problems with this approach. First is it takes a bunch of time and money to create all that stuff. A lot of time and money. Have you ever tried it? I mean, as long as I've been doing this, I am still amazed at how often I will sit down at my desk and think, oh, I'll just whip out a quick lead magnet or email sequence. And 3 days later, I am still not done. The second problem is that the 80-20 rule eats our lunch. Some places it is our friend. Here it is our enemy. 20% or less of the content that we create produces 80% of the traffic. 10% of the content produces 90% of the opt-ins. 20% of your emails get open. Only 20% of your ads are profitable. 80% of your offers fail, and 80% of leads drop out of the funnel without buying. That is why it is called a funnel, because people are lost at each step. So put the time it takes to build a funnel together with an 80% failure rate of each component part, and it's a recipe for disaster. Now, the way around the 80-20 rule is diligent testing at each and every step. Because if all you do is run one of everything, 20% times 20% times 20% times 20% is something like 0.0032%. So, right, that's not a very good rate of success. So, but because of our time and budget constraints, that's what almost all micropreneurs do, even when they have the best of intentions. And even at that, it is a lot of time and effort, only to get it built out and discover all the way at the very end that, crap, there is a wad of bubble gum blocking the bottom of our funnel. So all that work and you get nothing or next to nothing. Now, it's just like, I like this for, the phrase, I like it, just enough sales to torture yourself. That's kind of what happens. So the truth is, what you end up building through no fault of your own, because of all the challenges that you have, is half-baked at best. It's a disease. I call it HAMS, for half-assed marketing syndrome. So maybe this sounds familiar to you too. I couldn't finish anything. I couldn't test anything. I didn't measure anything. Nothing was really working. It just kind of limped along. So then I tried outsourcing. And that didn't work either. You don't even want to get me started on how much money I spent on that with no results. So there's a saying, when you find yourself in a hole, stop digging. So out of self-defense, just as I had done with investing, I stopped digging and asked myself if there wasn't a better way. I mean, there had to be, because what supposedly worked for the big guys was not working for me. And it wasn't for lack of trying. It was pretty obvious to me that I was just like beating my head up against a wall. Now, I am a big fan of a book called The One Thing by Gary Keller, who's one of the founders of Keller Williams Real Estate. If you haven't read it, I highly recommend it. For sure, in my top 5 most influential business books ever, probably number 1 for me. So I decided to apply the one thing to my internet marketing of Sync to CRM. And here's the key concept in the one thing, at least for me. You ask a clarifying question. What is the one thing that if I did it right now would make everything else easier or unnecessary, and do that? Do you think that's creating a bunch of content? No, it's getting people to pay you, making an offer that people want so that there is money coming in the door. That is what, at the time, would make everything easier because we were burning cash. So, okay, then what? Now content? No. Leads? Well, I thought so, right? I hear that all the time. I need more leads. I thought that too. And that's when I dived whole hog into learning Facebook advertising, which I did, but that wasn't it. I'll tell you exactly when the epiphany of the reverse funnel came. I was putting together a spreadsheet to measure the ROI on my Facebook ads, and I started messing around with some numbers. And in the moment I realized that if I double my leads coming in the top of my funnel, I may double my revenue, yes, but I also double my risk because there's a bigger ad spend, more work because I'm dealing with more people, and the exact same return on my money. So that's the right-hand side of the column, right? You see at the bottom, right? We've doubled our leads from 1,000 to 2,000 at the top, and our profit is double. It went from 200 to 400, exact same 20% ROI on the bottom row. But if all I do was, for example, improve my purchase conversion rate from, say, 1% on the right to 2%, now on the left, on the exact same 1,000 leads, the exact same amount of work, the exact same amount of risk, my profit went up from 20% to 140%. That's a 7x increase. That is leverage. And if I could get it to go from 1% on the right to 3% on the left, it went up to 260% ROI, or a 13x increase, with absolutely nothing else changing. That is the small hinge that moves the big door. And in fact, that is true all along the funnel. It's the very nature of a funnel where you lose people at each stage, that improvements you make nearer the bottom of the funnel have exponentially greater impact on the bottom line than at the top of the funnel. So that's what I did. And I haven't looked back since. The top-down funnel is wrong. It takes too long. There are too many steps. Most people don't read or watch your stuff anyway. There's too much risk for too little reward. It sucks. And there's a better way. Focus on the bottom of the funnel. That is where the gold is. Now, you may not be in the exact same business as me or have the same experiences as me, but this is what we have in common. We've both been sold a bill of goods that we need content and more leads and to build an email list. And that once we have a profitable campaign, you scale it up so that you can get even more leads and create even more content and hire people and run on that hamster wheel even faster. Well, take a deep breath, y'all, because it is not right. You can see it's not right. Look at the math. So let me share with you 3 secrets that have allowed me to start a brand new business. It's a meta business, in fact, because it uses the reverse funnel to sell the reverse funnel from a standing start in November with no list, no team, just me, no social media, no podcast, and no huge ad budget. To, as you can see from this graph that I pulled from my I need to update that graphic. I missed that today. Anyway, that's from last month. But anyway, we crossed $100,000 for the year in August, right? From a standing start. And I'm here to tell you right now, if that I can do it, that you can do it too. So secret number 1, the magic is in the hook. In fact, dollars to donuts, you are here right now because of my hook. And I'll explain what it is and how without it, your funnel simply will not work. Secret number 2 is to fill your funnel with Facebook ads. And secret number 3, your business's job is to allow you to do what you want when you want without worrying how you will pay for it. Now let's go through these one at a time. Secret number 1, the magic is in the hook. What is a hook? Well, where we start in the reverse funnel is the 5P framework for describing your offer. And the 5 Ps are premise, persona, problem, promise, and process. Now, the hook is a way of describing either the problem or promise in a way that creates an energetic response from your persona, AKA someone who is your ideal customer. Now, what the heck does that mean? All right. You know how when you're in a crowded room and someone says your name and you can hear it all the way across the room over all the loud conversation and clanking silverware and your head snaps around to see who said your name and what they said about you? It's like that. When someone who is your ideal customer hears your hook, you want the head snap. Now, a friend of mine, Al McCree, who also happens to be a Reverse Funnel Workshop alumni, he manages another friend of ours, the comedian Jeannie Robertson. And you may have heard of Jeannie. She was Miss North Carolina of 1963, 6'2" tall, very Southern. Her son's name is Beaver, no lie, and very funny. Well, her signature story is a bit called Never Send a Man to the Grocery Store. Well, for her ideal target audience, which is an older Southern woman, that hook creates the head snap, the energetic response that's produced over 25 million YouTube views and sold a lot of concert tickets. That is the power of a good hook. For you men, Perry Marshall says it's like racking a shotgun. You know that noise you hear when someone puts a shell in and pulls the pump handle, that chunk? If someone hears that sound anywhere, their head's going to snap around involuntarily. Now, the easiest way to structure a hook is how to blank without blank, where the first blank is something that they really, really want, and the second blank is something they really, really don't. Frank Kern calls it yay without boo. So mine, for example, is how to double your course in 13x profits so you can take more money out of your business without needing a blog, podcast, social media, big email list, or large ad budget. Does that sound familiar? It should, because whether you got here because you saw a Facebook ad or an email or both, they all led with this hook. Remember when I told you earlier about my investment firm and that we taught people how to invest for retirement? Oops. Well, truth be told, when I first started teaching my investment method, I wasn't thinking about people using it for retirement at all. But a couple of years after I started the company, I just happened to go to this really small conference on retirement income. It was a professional conference, not for investors, lots of academics. It's still pretty weird that I went in the first place, but thank goodness I did, because I walked away from it understanding that there was a massive problem bearing down on us. 76 million baby boomers without enough money to retire, and that my investment method could solve that for a large swath of them. So the first big stair step in our growth was when I found that audience and started framing the Snyder method as a solution to the retirement income problem. And that was good. But when it really took off was the day, one day on stage, I mentioned that we wanted to manage our investment so that we could live comfortably and without the fear of being 90 years old, living under a bridge, eating cat food. It was instant. Did you feel it when I said it? For my target audience, that produces electricity I could feel all the way up on stage. Now, they were already looking at me, so there was no actual head snap, but it was as real as if they had. And I knew in that instant. It's like Supreme Court Justice Potter Stewart said about pornography. I can't define it, but I know it when I see it. I rode that hook to over $4 million a year in sales and a spot on the Inc. list 2 years in a row. And I could give you other examples as well. You may know I have dogs and live on a very big farm. Well, there's a company called Whistle that makes GPS tracking devices that clip on a dog's collar. When Whistle first launched, they almost went bankrupt because they had the wrong hook. They were trying to sell Whistle as a way to keep track of your pet's daily activity level, like Fitbit for your dog. Wrong. So how did they save the company? By fixing the hook to never lose your pet again. Now, if you've ever had that dread of realizing that your dog is gone and you have absolutely no idea where to even begin looking, and all you can do is frantically call and call and call and hope never lose your pet again, gets the head snap. The magic is in the hook. And then once you get your hook right, attracting qualified leads into the top of the funnel is easy. 2 guesses how we do that. Lots and lots of valuable content. No, just kidding. Just kidding. Wanted to see if you were paying attention. No, we fill your funnel with Facebook ads. Now, look, just to be clear, I am not saying content is bad, by the way. In fact, I built Snyder Advisors on content marketing before there was even a term for it. And a couple months back, an amazing prospect fell in my lap. When I asked him how he heard about me, guess what he said? A piece of content that I created a long time ago for Sync to CRM about how to increase relevance score. So I'm not saying that it is bad or that it never works. I am saying for micropreneurs, it is not the first thing we do because it is not the one thing that makes everything else easier or unnecessary. And it won't be the one thing until almost the last thing. So no, we don't use content to fill our funnel. I rely on paid traffic and specifically Facebook advertising. Why? Well, there are a number of reasons. First is because it's fast and efficient. I have a template and a process for creating my ads now that works. It takes me a tiny fraction of the time that it would be taking me to put free content out in the world. 2, it is totally controllable. It's like my water spigot. I turn it on, leads come out. I turn it off, they stop. I don't have to worry about an unreliable supply. And 3, it is profitable. Those of you who came into this webinar via Facebook ads cost me between $1 and $2 each. And by the way, that's about 80% of you who are here tonight. Actually, 80% of not just who are here tonight, everybody who signed up, okay? Now, you might be thinking that, oh, well, that's all well and good, but the reason that I'm getting sub $2 leads is because I have some special skill or talent. I don't. What I do have is a system. And what is a system? It's a set of steps that, when repeated over and over again, produces a predictable result. Let's look at Corey. Corey started the reverse funnel workshop in April. And you can see that he's already been able to use what he learned to get his lead costs down from $9 before to under $1 now. And you're probably thinking that Facebook is hard or scary or risky. Well, not so. I totally get why you might think that, because I think I already mentioned that I was completely intimidated and overwhelmed by Facebook ads when I first started. But you know what? Like so many things, when I got in there, I realized it wasn't hard at all. I mean, I can teach anybody the mechanics of Facebook ads. That part's easy. In fact, you know what? Let's go in and create the ad that I ran for this webinar right now. Okay, so I just hop out of Keynote here, and I'm going to go over to Facebook. I have some things organized for us here. Specifically, I've got my ad copy here. And what we're going to do is go to Facebook Ads Manager, which I can get to a number of ways. But in this case, I'll just click right there on my ad account. That brings me to an overview of my campaigns. So just one thing to show you very quickly. If I limit these to the campaigns that were active for this particular webinar, which is this one, and I go over here to the ad sets. Now, for those of you who don't, this was not meant to be a Facebook tutorial. We do all of that in the reverse funnel workshop. However, one of the things that I did want to show you is I had mentioned that those of you who came from a webinar had cost me, I think I said $1.40 something, because that's what it was last time I looked. However, right at the moment, you can see that you all are costing me about $1.69. Okay. And this has only been running for literally a couple days since late Sunday night. And those are the results that we're getting. Okay. So if I wanted to go create the ad that I used for this webinar, what I would do is I would say create ad, which was that green button. I pick an objective. In my case, the objective is conversions, because I want you all to sign up for something, which is my webinar. I'm going to give it a name. We'll call it Webinar Demo is our campaign name. And I say continue. So you can see that for those of you who are not familiar with Facebook, it's very much like a wizard now. Up here, I will put the name of the audience I'm going to target. So let's just say that we are going to do Russell Brunson. So I put that there. It is, we don't want that. We want to, now it's asking, what is the conversion event that we are optimizing for? And in this case, it's registering for the webinar. Okay, I have those pre-set up. That's something that we also cover very early in the reverse funnel workshop. So I've told it that. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to, I'm not going to mess with this for now. We'll just leave it United States, 18 to 65 all. But when I hit this drop down, you can see the sorts of people that I tend to target. And that is why they're appearing there in that drop down. I said we were going to do Russell Brunson. We might do more than one, but for purposes of this, we'll just do that one. We'll leave it as is there. In terms of placements, let's just say, for example, that I don't want to do Audience Network. Don't worry if you don't know what that is. I don't want to do Instagram either. And on Facebook, I only want to do the feeds. Okay, so you can see that there is a great deal of granularity depending on how much you want to go beyond the preset or recommendations. Daily budget, I can go as low as $5 a day or as high as thousands of dollars a day if I want to. I'm going to say, again, this is optimized for conversions. My click window is 1 day, meaning typically when someone's registering for a webinar, they're going to go straight, they're going to click through to the site, and they're going to convert right then and there. It's a fairly quick conversion, so I want them to optimize based on that. I let them handle the bid amount, and everything else is good. I say continue. Now, we're here, as you can see on the left-hand side, on the ad itself, and I am going to say webinar, and I'm going to say double because that's going to be the headline, I think, that I use. And I'm going to say Brunson because he was my ad target. Okay, so I'm going to come over here, create a new ad. I got to pick which page this ad is going to be attached to. That is this Kim Snyder page. For now, very simple. We'll just do a single image ad. In terms of the images, I already have some in my library that I'm going to use. But if I needed to upload a new one, it's very simple. I would do it right here. So I'm going to choose from my library and we'll just, what the heck, use that one of the cat and say done. It's going to ask me what page on the website am I taking them to. So here is where my sheet that I write out in advance of doing these ads comes in handy. You can see that I already put my URL up here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do like that, reverse your funnel sales funnel masterclass. That is the registration page for this webinar. The headline, I have two different headlines written. I am going to go on this particular one with this one. I usually run multiple ads at the same time to test them. We'll just do this one. Purpose is only really just for those of you who have never done Facebook ads before, to show you it is probably a lot easier just in terms of the basic mechanics than you might think. Notice over here, they are giving us a preview of what that looks like as we are creating it, so we can see how it shows up for someone. And now here is my text. I use pretty long text on purpose in my ads. In fact, my ad copy is really very close to, almost identical to, in fact, an email that I write. And so I just cut and paste that right in there. There is my ad copy. I am going to put a sign up button right there down on the bottom right. The news feed link description only shows up sometimes, but I'm going to put it in there. It's going to tell you what to do. Click through to register only after you read what I wrote you above. Notice it does not show. If I had a shorter headline, it would have down below my headline, but that's okay. I put it in there anyway. And everything else, that's it. My ad is literally done. It's complete. And when I say, as I will, place order, it will go out. Facebook will review it to make sure it doesn't violate any of Facebook's terms and policies. And once they have satisfied themselves that it's a good ad, then they will turn it on and let it run. So I'm going to do that, and then we will pop back over to the webinar. Okay, so a couple things. One, normally I remember to tell you guys before I started that it's a video that I pre-record because I tend to ramble, and that would take 45 minutes if I did it on the fly. But for those of you who haven't worked with Facebook before, was that simpler than you thought? Because I think that's a big misconception about Facebook, that it's really, really complicated. And for me, it's all about templates and systems and knowing what works and just doing the same things that are working over and over and over again until they don't. Now, so, you know, in that vein, maybe you've been thinking that you need to be Ernest Hemingway, you know, Annie Leibovitz or Martin Scorsese to be successful at Facebook advertising. You don't. As you just saw, I follow a copy template. The best images are the simplest ones. And Lucy, to your point, there are ones that look like something that you would post on your newsfeed, like the cat or a picture of you. And there's lots of software out there that's absolutely dummy proof for making images and videos. I promise you, when God was giving out creativity, I was hiding behind the door. Now, maybe that you're thinking, well, my market isn't on Facebook. Okay. There are over 2 billion people on Facebook every single day. We are living in a world where, for better or for worse, even our president is on social media every day. No matter who you sell to or where they are, there is a critical mass of them on Facebook, I promise. I have one student who does 6 figures selling to churches online. Like, just think about it. All these people, they have kids and sisters and brothers and interests outside of work too. And when they're on Facebook, just because it might not be during work, they still see your ad. Does that make sense? Facebook advertising is an inexhaustible supply of cheap, qualified leads once you know how to do it, and much more efficient and predictable than content marketing or SEO. But maybe you're thinking an expert could do it better than you. Well, that is the perfect segue into the third secret. Your business's only job is to allow you to do what you want or need when you want or need to do it without worrying how you will pay for it. And maybe that is spreading your message far and wide. Or maybe it's putting your kids through college or taking care of an aging parent when they can't. Or maybe it's taking fabulous vacations or indulging in expensive hobbies or buying a Ferrari. Who cares? Whatever it is for you, that's its job. And this was really brought home to me over the last few weeks. Now, in fact, I debated whether to do this, but I want to play you part of a video. A couple of you may have seen it. And just to give you context for the video, I ran an experiment to see if by sending you all a personal video when you signed up for this masterclass, I could improve attendance rates. Now, for those of you who live outside the US, we've just had the crap kicked out of us these last few weeks, right? With horrible wildfires in one part of the country and 2 massive hurricanes within a couple of weeks of each other. And, you know, the possibility of yet another looming off the coast. So what I'm about to show you is from a video that I sent us on Sunday, just as Hurricane Irma was about to obliterate Florida. And I also want to thank you for opening this email and watching this video because, believe it or not, that's actually really hard to get people to do these days. If you look at the numbers, every month it gets harder and harder, which brings me to the main point of my of sending you this video. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. The elephant in the room is that in this day and age, every Tom, Dick, and Harry are doing webinars. And, you know, we can dress it up and call it a masterclass, but really it's a webinar. Okay. And because they are everywhere, they're so ubiquitous, their perceived value is getting smaller and smaller and smaller. So what happens is we, myself included, we sign up for one that looks like it's going to be interesting, useful, helpful, great content, or we think the person who's doing it is, you know, got something going, and then life gets in the way and we blow it off. And we tell ourselves we'll watch the replay, but we don't. And it didn't used to be this way, but now increasingly, you know, I watch the numbers. It is. Okay, now I am here to tell you that this is the one that you must attend for a couple of reasons. So what I've been saying previously in these videos is, that if you are in the business of selling your expertise, meaning you are a online course creator, coach, consultant, author, speaker, but by the way, selling expertise is much broader than that. You could be a financial planner. You could be a yoga instructor. You could be, a lot of people now sell expertise and you want to sell it online. 2, you want your business to grow because maybe it's growing, but you want it to grow faster, or maybe it's not growing. And we need to turn that around. And 3, you want your business to be profitable, more profitable, much, much more profitable. Then you must attend, because what I'm going to address is a challenge that we have as small business owners. And that challenge is that the way that you do those things is you do it with an online sales funnel, a profitable online sales funnel. And the way that the conventional wisdom now, the way that everybody is teaching you and telling you how to do that, doesn't work for small businesses like us. It's great if you're, 2 million and over in revenue. But if you're under that, it does not work. It does not work. So I'm going to go over on Wednesday a different way to do it that absolutely does work. In fact, it's perfect and designed for smaller micropreneurial businesses like ours. Now, that's what I've been telling people, and that's all still true. But it's really coming home to me about why this is so critically important. Some of you may have seen, if you're on my email list, you may have seen the email I sent out last night about waiting for Hurricane Irma. If you're not in the United States, you probably don't know anything about this, but the southern United States has just been pummeled with 2 massive hurricanes, one in Houston, which is our 6th largest city, and then all of Florida. Something like 9 million people already are affected by this massive hurricane, and more coming, including me. But so we up here in South Carolina are getting Irma today. In fact, I'm looking out the windows of my office, and it's raining, pretty good. We're expected not to get anything like what Florida got, obviously, but we are supposed to get over 5 inches of rain, and, it's going to be 40-mile-an-hour winds for over 12 hours. I live on a farm. We have a generator. My folks are here. It's all good. It's all good, which is the point. So here is the thing. I've been saying to people, and it sounds so trite, if growing your business is a priority, then make this a priority. And I say to them, and who is it not a priority for? But I know that even though and this is why I get so frustrated, right? Because I know that while we say it is a priority and we feel it is a priority, we don't feel the priority, right? And so a bunch of people won't show up. They won't even see if I can help them grow the business, but now we've got Hurricane Harvey and we've got Hurricane Irma. And one of the things that dawned on me yesterday, I don't want to be tone deaf to all the people in horrible situations. However, to you, I want to say, the number one job of your small business is to provide well for you and your family. That is its job. That's why you have this business. It's a lifestyle business. I am assuming that you're not trying to build Facebook. Okay. So whether it's 500,000 or 1 million or 2 million or 10 or 20, or 50, those are still lifestyle businesses whose noble job is to provide security for you and your family. And every single day, I count my blessings that the businesses that I have started provide the lifestyle for me that they do, that when not everybody, but people are stressing and worried that if they have, sustained any sort of damage from this storm whatsoever, that it's going to be financially devastating for them. And thankfully, it's not for us. The security that those businesses provide is priceless. And that's its job. And my job and your job is to nurture those businesses and work on those businesses and get them to the point that they provide that for you and your family and your employees. And there's nothing more noble than small businesses because of what they do for people. And I think as we go through our day-to-day, we lose sight of that and we say, tomorrow, I can't do it. I'm too busy. Look around. Look at this, okay? Think of the difference. This is what a profitable online sales funnel can do. And I want to now stress the online point more than I ever have before because, I play polo in Wellington, Florida, just, outside of West Palm Beach. There's this is a crazy thing, but there's a mallet shop that makes the mallets that we all use for polo and sells. This guy has absolutely, he's Argentine, and he's come here and he's built a terrific business, worked his guts out for the last 6 years to become apprenticed and build this beautiful shop and I'm sitting there thinking, I need mallets and I'm not going to get any, but forget that. That poor guy, his shop is underwater. So the online aspect of it is so important as well. The fact that, anyway, I won't keep preaching. But today more than any day, I'm reminded why I love to learn and teach and share, the things that I'm doing, because it's because of this. But you got to meet me halfway. If you don't show up, then I can't help you. And that makes me sad. So, hopefully I'm going to see you live on Wednesday at 5:00. And if I can't because of some time zone, because again, I know a bunch of you are in the UK and Poland and all over the place. So I'm just going to tell you, if this is a priority for you, then make an appointment with yourself in your calendar to watch the replay after. It's been posted Thursday afternoon or Friday. And as if you were watching the webinar live. Okay. Again, if it's a priority and I can't think of a higher priority, then make it a priority. Make that appointment with yourself. Watch the replay. You can just reply to this email and watch, and ask me whatever questions you have. But it's better if you attend live and we can interact and you can ask questions, etc. Okay. So I got a little more preachy than I meant for it to, but hopefully you know where my heart is on this. And I will see you all on Wednesday. Bye. Okay. I take your point about it maybe being a little bit long. Actually, again, these were personal videos, so most people didn't see this. And frankly, I hesitated about showing this video to you guys at all today because someone who saw it said to me that they thought I was trying to make money off of a natural disaster and that, that it was disgusting. But I decided to show it because, one, I couldn't disagree more vehemently. So, okay, if I was gouging people for plywood or gasoline, that'd be profiting from the disaster. But on the other hand, when people are having a there but for the grace of God go I moment, and by calling out that event to help you see what I believe to be a really important truth, To not use it would be wasting an opportunity to reach people with something that I feel very, very strongly about. So this is what I'm talking about. And if someone thinks I'm trying to profit off of the hardships of others, then so be it. Now, Ryan Smith, who's the founder of Uggs, says, no one gives birth to an adult. I remind myself of that when I get frustrated with my businesses all the time. Businesses don't just magically grow or appear fully formed, okay? Your business's job is to allow you to do what you want, when you want, without worrying how you will pay for it. And your job is to nurture and grow that business so that it can do that. So let me ask you a question. If you could do what I showed you in secret number 1 and create a hook that compelled people to act on your offer, and then you could use that hook to do what I showed you in secret number 2, to drive qualified leads into your funnel. And if you could, as we discussed in secret number 3, get clear on your job and spend time on the one thing each day that would drive and nurture your business, do you think you could be successful? Yeah, you bet your bottom bippy you can. So that last section got a little heavy. So I'm lightening it up just a little bit, right? That's you when you reach a big milestone for your business that you've been trying to crack for ages. But I also wonder how many of you are feeling a little bit overwhelmed because we covered a lot. It is a lot to process. So is it okay with you if I spend the time that we have left going over a special offer that I created for you to help you guys implement all this with my help in just 3 months? If so, give me a thumbs up in the Q&A box if you would. Awesome. Okay. Thank you for that. Excellent. So it's called the Reverse Funnel Mastermind. It's new. It's a live 12-week program, at the end of which you will have your entire sales funnel built or refurbished if you have one that isn't working the way that you want. You'll be generating as many low-cost qualified leads as you want or need. You'll be converting those leads at a healthy profit. And to our last point, you will be able to generate a paycheck at will. So here is what that looks like. First, you get 12 weekly live 2-hour training sessions with me, with Q&A and weekly assignments. And here's what you will learn in those live sessions. By the end of week 3, you'll have tested and found the magic hook, because as we discussed in secret number 1, the magic hook creates the domino fall. It's the foundation. It makes everything that comes after work. By the end of week 6, you'll have a highly converting webinar and all the marketing automation set up. By the end of week 9, you will have your Facebook ads running to drive new leads to your webinar, just like this one. And don't worry, you don't have to learn everything there is to know about Facebook ads. We just use what works and ignore the rest. And then finally, you'll have your long-ass email sequence and Facebook ads working to convert the stragglers. So you might be wondering if the Reverse Funnel Mastermind is for you. So let me be really clear about who it fits best. This is for online course creators, coaches, consultants, or anyone who makes a living from their expertise, whose business is stagnant or not growing as fast as you want. It is not for those who haven't launched your course yet, businesses with a large number of products or services like e-commerce or restaurants. Basically, it is for established businesses who sell their expertise that could sell using a webinar or something similar as the conversion event. Now, it's entirely possible that you are thinking right about now about jumping off the call because you think you just don't have time for one more thing on your plate. And while I get that, I'm telling you right now, it is a mistake. It is a limiting belief that is holding you back from success. Time is not the issue, prioritization is. Most of our days are filled with busyness that isn't the one thing. Micropreneurs have to be obsessed with creating leverage. You want to know what leverage is? In 2016, I ran a Facebook project that gave me 2,480% return in 2 days with an investment of 6 hours of my time. What you have to ask yourself is this program the one thing that would make everything else easier or unnecessary? And if it is the one thing, you have to commit to and let everything else wait. That's how the one thing works. So again, when you sign up, you're going to get 12 2-hour intimate training sessions using Zoom meetings so that we can talk like we were together in the same room, which is a total value of $1,997. You're also going to get up to 12 weekly 1-hour one-on-one calls with me. So that is 4 months of weekly calls where you and I work together to implement the reverse funnel in your business. And you may be aware that I offered those calls to my founding members when I first started back the reverse funnel workshop in November. And I took them away because I just didn't have the time to do them for everybody. But one thing that is very interesting and became very clear when you look at the 60 or so members of that program and you look at which ones are most successful, it's really obvious that the ones who invested in the coaching with me are doing better. Now, we can argue whether that's about me being so great or that there's a built-in accountability or, cause and effect or what. But the fact remains, those folks are getting far better results than the ones who are trying to figure it out on their own, which is why I brought these back. So that is a $12,700 value. And that is why this is such a special offer. You will get unlimited monthly live members only open office hour calls with me. Those happen on the second Monday of each month. In those calls, we do an open group Q&A. That's $2,976 value. You'll also get unlimited monthly live members only advanced strategy webinars. Those happen on the fourth Monday of each month. And this is the part of the program that's designed more as like an ongoing case study where I share with you at least once a month, but also in the Facebook group, what I'm doing and learning and failing at, succeeding at, and what results I'm getting from all the different ideas I'm experimenting with in my own funnel. And those are my private clients, which, by the way, I appreciate all your comments about the personal videos, because in fact, on Monday, I'm going to be presenting the data from that experiment to my members, things like that. So that is a $2,976 value as well. And next, you're going to get unlimited access to the private Facebook discussion group where all of us hang out, answer each other's questions, brainstorm ideas. That is a $997 value. And this is just the mastermind. Besides the reverse funnel itself, which is totally unique, I invented it and continue to refine it. So you're not going to hear it anywhere else. There is also the vault, which includes a 14-day free trial of my recommended CRM and email platform, ActiveCampaign, which is what I use. And get this, I am including preloading my personal 6-campaign webinar series, which is yours to use in your funnel. And then, and the way it would work is if you decide not to keep ActiveCampaign, which, by the way, is no skin off my nose, I'm not making anything off of it. But the point being, I want you to have my webinar campaigns. If you don't want ActiveCampaign, then you just copy out all my emails and, take screenshots of the campaigns and you can recreate those in whatever platform you use, right? And the reason I'm doing this is because, one, when I was first figuring all this stuff out, I spent way too much time figuring out all these technology pieces. And that was time and energy that was taken away from what I was really supposed to be doing. And so it's also, if you choose to keep it, a benefit is that you're working in the same system as me. So your screens and capabilities would be the same as mine. But anyway, that is at least an $8,997 value. Who knows, maybe more on that one. I'll also give you this slide deck complete with annotated speaker notes that you can swipe to get your own webinar presentation done quickly. That is a $1,497 value. By the way, let me go back to that for just a quick second. So let's just, do you think that the words and the sequencing of this presentation are random? If we lift the tent flaps up just a little bit, of course they aren't, right? They're designed to convert you to a buyer. And since I obviously have a vested interest in you being successful, the easiest way for me to make that happen is to just give you what I have that already works as a starting point and then let you modify from there. So that's the idea with all of these. So that's a $1,497 value, but we're not done. You're also going to get access to another swipe file, this one containing my best performing Facebook ad copy for cold traffic. If you don't know the term cold traffic, that's just people have never heard of you ever before, which is most people, many of you, most of you, in fact, were cold coming into this. And those people are the hardest to convert, right? So we typically write different ad copy for them than you will for someone who's heard of you before. So I'm going to give you the copy template that I use for my ads. And this is a big deal as well, because I worked on this ad copy for at least almost a year to get that perfected. And by the way, I hate it when people do that and say that, but it's true. So, take that in the spirit that it's intended, I mean, it's of course meant to say, yes, it's valuable, but it's also meant to say that I'm committed to making this so much faster and easier for you to generate these low cost qualified leads that we talked about, compared to just starting out and figuring it out on your own like I did, right? So why would you do that? That's kind of the point. All right. So that is a $797 value that I absolutely would have liked to have had back in the day. I don't know about you. And I realize if we're going to get your funnel built in 12 weeks, then you can't be messing around with which tools are the best. That's just procrastinating. Spit it out, Kim. Procrastination waiting to happen. So I am now including also my 2017 members only tools and sources list, which you will have instant access to as soon as you register, including a couple of special offers and freebies just for our members. And that is a $797 value. Also, you don't have to wait until the first live class if you don't want to, because you'll get instant 24/7 access to the pre-course, prior member calls, as well as all future video content, including recorded class archives, all member calls, bonus content, and private Facebook Lives for members. So I say that's a $997 value, but actually some of the bonus content alone is worth way more than that. So I think I undersold that one. But anyway, add all that up and you get a grand total of $31,755. Now, let me ask you this. If all we did was create a hook that turbocharged every piece of marketing content you put out from here on out, every email, every business card, every brochure, every podcast, although we don't do those, every ad, would that be worth $31,000 to your business? If all we did was bring in an inexhaustible supply of low-cost, profitable leads, would it be worth $31,000? Great, of course it would. Now, obviously, I'm not going to charge you $31,000, but if I did charge you that much, $31,000, if all it did was allow you to do what you want or need, when you want or need, without worrying how to pay for it, would it be worth $31,000? It's a no-brainer, right? So here was my dilemma. I had two choices here. One, I could go as cheap as possible, like everyone else, and try to sell as many as possible. But the problem with that, besides that it's just not what I enjoy, is that I couldn't really pile on the value for you going that way. So the other option, which is obviously a bit more money, but in exchange for that, I can dedicate more time and more energy and more resources to help guarantee your success. So if you had a successful online sales funnel today, what would that be worth to you? And how much would you pay to have that one successful sales funnel? I mean, you could probably see why, people pay gobs of money for someone to create a profitable sales funnel for them all the time. Hell, they pay $31,000 for a single profitable sales letter, much less sales funnel, because it is buying money at a discount. If I had $100 bills on sale for $80, would you say, oh no, I don't have the budget? When you can buy money at a discount, there is no budget. So there's only the question of whether you're willing to put in the work to make it work. And that's because it's not a cost, it's an investment. So you've already seen how it's worth $31,000, but because what I really need now is some more powerful case studies from a bunch of really successful students. I'm giving you a really special offer today, tonight, of one payment of just $2,497. But you only have a few days to decide, and this is not false urgency or anything. It's because the first live class is next Wednesday, 1 week from today, September 20th. We start at 5:30 p.m. So you have 1 week to get in, and then the doors close. So while you're thinking that over, let me just read you this. This is a case study. Kent says, we've had 3 big breakthroughs on conversions in the last few weeks. One doubled our average order size, which is massive. Another doubled conversion rate on a key page where we were leaking badly. And the final is the results from engaging customers with Intercom, which is still early days, but I think will be huge impact as well. And those have all come out of my one-on-ones with you. Kent Erdogal, Executive Chairman, Waft.com. This is what happens when you get the bottom of the funnel right. So now you have 2 choices. Choice number 1 is to do nothing. If you do nothing with the information you've learned the last hour, then what do you get? But that's right, nothing. Or you can choose to take a leap of faith and believe in yourself and the business that you have, and work with me to implement the reverse funnel in your business and have a profitable sales funnel up and running by the holidays. But the leap actually really isn't that big, and here's why. You're covered by my lifetime honor guarantee. Now, what's an honor guarantee? Well, this is something I implemented a few months back, and here's why. I know that this system works because it's the exact same process that I'm using in my own business and for very large consulting clients like Waft. However, if you're on the fence or if other trainings have left you skeptical, then I want to give you every chance possible to turbocharge your business with absolute confidence. So the way it works is you can get a full refund anytime, provided you show me you've done the work and it did not work for you. I mean, like, that's fair, right? If you don't give it your full effort, that's on you, not me. I'm not guaranteeing your work or effort, but I am more than confident guaranteeing mine. And in case you're still on the fence, let me give you 2 more last things to hopefully tip the scales. 1, if you apply, are accepted, and pay before Thursday, that's tomorrow, midnight Eastern time here in the States, I will give you a super, super valuable bonus. We talked about how important the hook is. So get in before midnight tomorrow, my time, and I will write your first hook for you. And you can ask some of the folks already doing the reverse funnel how valuable that is. And by the way, I think I completely forgot to mention that the program is limited to only 15 people, which is why there's a short application process. I did. And number 2, for every full pay registration, I will donate $200 to Best Friends Hurricane Relief Fund, who Best Friends are doing the really hard yeoman's work of rescuing the pets that were left behind in Houston and Florida, or if you so choose, to the relief organization of your choice in your name. But that's the default. So the real question is this: is it worth gambling a few hours of your time to do the work? Because if you believe in yourself, if you believe that with a guide and the proper system, you can build a better business, even if it only does a tiny, tiny fraction of what I've claimed today, it'll pay for itself, right? $24.97, like, that's one stinking client. If it works, you have a successful, profitable business. If it doesn't, I guarantee you will have learned a ton and you get your money back. Now, before I take your questions, and I am about to take your questions, so get them ready, I just want to say one more thing, I swear. I'm guessing that there are 2 kinds of people who are listening to me right now. You're either a doer or a dabbler. And the dabblers, they love to sit and listen and learn, but they rarely ever do anything, and often are just looking for an excuse not to move forward. Now, some of you are doers. You're not sure how this is going to work for you, but you can see how it works for me and for other people. So you have faith that it'll work for you as well. And what I've found is that it's the doers who get ahead in life, while the dabblers don't ever really seem to get anywhere. They just talk a good game. So are you a doer or a dabbler? That's my question to you. Now, what questions do you all have for me? You can type them in the Q&A box now, and I'll be happy to answer any and all on any topic. Open forum. You can ask me anything at all. And I'm going to kind of check through some of the comments that got left in the chat while I was talking. Okay, no questions in there, mostly just comments. Okay, let's check the Q&A box. Okay. Oh, one comment here. Just wanted to say I wasn't offended at all by your video, and I really appreciate the passion. To me, it's just obvious you care. Thank you so much for that. I really do appreciate it. What are the dates and when do you have to sign up to get the bonuses? Okay, the dates, just so you know, it's a 12-week program. So it starts, as I said, Wednesday, this coming 1 week from today, September 20th. And so 12 weeks from now means the last day of the live program, or just the 12-week modules, is December 6th. And it's 2 hours. So it's from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. Okay. Okay. I've always been told that you build your email list first, but you're saying I can do this without an email list. Can you explain how that works? Yes. Absolutely. So, well, just I'm guessing like you are the perfect example. As I said to you, 80% of the people who registered for this webinar came in from a Facebook ad as cold traffic, meaning you'd never heard from me before, right? And you signed up for the webinar, and some percentage of you show up. And so we know that there's a small percentage of people who are ready to buy right now. There always is. And the problem with the other way, the right side up funnel, if you will, is that it never goes after those people who are ready to buy right away. It drives them all the way down through that long funnel, right? So what we do is we say, okay, well, we're going to do our best to get that low hanging fruit from the cold traffic, those of you who are going to buy this week, who never heard of me before. And those of you who don't, that's okay, because guess what? You are now on the email list, and you may take a while. Tim just made a comment over in the chat, right? Are you running this again? Is it clashing with another course I'm already doing, right? So maybe Tim's not ready, but he buys later. Some of you might never buy, but what that ends up doing is you don't need an email list in order to market to you. You actually are building your list as you market. And it's not that you aren't creating quality content. I am, in fact, if you think about it, this has all been content, but it's all really strategic and not for the purpose of necessarily warming people up, but for driving them through a very short funnel. And so just, to give you kind of some numbers. So when I started this in November, the email list for this was tiny. It was just some of the names I'd brought over from Sync to CRM. But over the course since November, I've grown my list to about 5,000 people just doing this. So that's how. And there's actually a circle or a process that I go through in the pre-course material that explains kind of the framework of the reverse funnel and how it works and how it makes this big virtuous circle. But that's basically it. To answer your question, Tim, I sound like I'm waffling to get you to buy it, and I'm not. I don't know. At a minimum, I don't know. It would be probably 12 weeks. I've been thinking about, could I run this every month? But I think I'd probably, with like overlapping classes, I think I'd probably go crazy. I don't know. This is the first time I've ever run this particular program. So so I would say if you want in, get in now, because there's no guarantees. I just don't know, but sorry, I can't be more definitive. Sorry. Okay. No. Okay. Okay. So similar. So what if I can't attend live? Okay. So if you can't attend live, either because you're clashing or you're in the wrong time zone, again, it's exactly the same thing as I said about this, which is to say, I think it's better, and I think prior attendees would tell you that it's better when you can attend live, because especially the classes, because they're so small, like it's not a webinar, we just open them up and we all talk and people get to know one another, and there's a real camaraderie and mastermind feel to it. But that said, some people just can't. And so everything is recorded. Everything is in the member site. There's the Facebook group. You're not shut out at all. So that would be if you can't make it because of time zones, that would be my, or work. I have some people who work during those hours. So that would be the answer. Okay, Tim says, okay, 12 weeks suits me best. Then I hit all your requirements. Awesome. When you're ready, I'll probably have something. It just might not be this thing. Okay, let's see. I have a brick and mortar class I've been offering and building an online course for it. Should be ready by Thanksgiving. Will your plan still be available at this price? Actually, it's all right, interesting. And so let me answer this other question as well. So to Tim and that one, someone else said, I noticed a couple things have changed. The price has gone up and I don't see a payment plan option like you had before. Has that gone away? Okay, so just so you know, the price is going up. And this is a business, kind of a business lesson, a business model lesson for you guys. So last time I was doing Sales Funnel Summer School, which was a very similar program, but it was 8 weeks. And so the price has gone up from $19.97 to $24.97. Now, part of that is because it is what I learned from that was that people told me that they really needed some kind of catch-up time. It was hard to stay caught up with the class with it being 8 weeks. So I stretched it out to 12. But the way that this works is, so rather than say, all right, well, I'm going to scale by taking more people, that's not my goal. So my goal, and the way I plan to do it, is to take 15 people. And if it fills up at 15 people, I keep raising the price so that I can, so the answer is no. Over time, the price definitely should be going up if I'm doing it right. And also, there is a payment plan option. You're right. It's not listed on the website. I should probably add it so you can see it. I believe the payment plan option is 5 payments of $597. And if you apply, that would be one of the options that you got back in terms of 2 different order forms. One is a 1 pay and one's the 5 pay. Okay. Okay. Well, but let me just make another comment. Jason, I'm coming to you next. I do want to make another comment about, your brick and mortar course, and, that you're building an online course for it. Even though this is not, well, I say that this is really for people who have their course built, and that is because, what happens is we get slowed down with people trying to get a course ready and do the marketing. Now, I will tell you that the way I believe this should be done, and the way I built my own, and the way I preach is the opposite. So what I do and did is I did not create the course and then go out and try and sell it, which is what everybody does. And it's backwards. What you do is you sell the course and then you create it if people buy it. And you do that by pre-selling. And so just to give you an idea, like for example, that original workshop in November, and I was very clear with people that the course wasn't built. They were getting an amazing price. They were getting amazing access to me. I think the original course was like $797 because it wasn't built, and that we were going to do it live and we were going to record that, and that was going to become part of the course. So, you pre-sell it. You do a founders group, and that way you're not spending months and hours and worrying about creating something that nobody's going to buy. And the other thing is, to begin with, it's absolutely minimum viable product, because I promise you, as you learn things, you will change. And the more you put into concrete, and I don't mean brick and mortar concrete, I mean an online course, the harder it is to change. So to begin with, it should be very minimal anyway, even the first couple of times. So again, I'm not, the reason I have, switched to saying I really prefer people who already have their course built is because most people can't tolerate that. And so it's just easier, with the 15 people to just work with people who have a course and, really want to grow it. But that said, it's really not the right way to do it, to build the course and then go sell it. You sell the course and then you build it. If you want to talk more about that, I can't see your name. It says anonymous attendee, but I'd be more than happy to chat with you about that and how to do that and how to pull that off. Okay. Okay, Jason. My target audience includes non-native English speakers. Should my ad copy still be as lengthy? Yes. Yes, it should. I get it. And potentially it should be in their native language, but it should still be lengthy. The reason, so, I have on this particular webinar, I had a conversion rate on that off of those ads of close to 90%. It was like 85% of the people who clicked on my ad converted to this webinar. And part of the secret sauce is that long form ad copy. So yeah, I think it's just really hard to convey the point without that. Okay. Also, I fall short of the criteria for the mastermind as my business is not established or earning what was mentioned. Should I simply begin with what you covered today regarding Facebook ads, or is it likely I'll be throwing money away? Thank you for your time. So Jason, hopefully I answered that kind of with anonymous, which is to say, those are, talk to me. If you're interested, talk to me. Some people can, some people can make it work, even though it's not exact. Other people can't. So, you know what I mean? So, I am a big believer in like turning things around. Like, do not have a product in search of a problem. Go find a problem and then create a product. Do not create a course and then try to sell it and then create the course. Learn how to market it, test your market, get product market fit, all of those things. So for you, it depends. It really depends on what all that means, like how short of the criteria you are, et cetera. And I would say, let's just talk about that. And if it's not right, if it's not a good fit for you now, I will absolutely tell you what to do and, and when it would be a good fit. Okay. Gary says, was your return without a course completed acceptable? Is your return without a course completed acceptable? You mean like, was my return on investment acceptable? I think that's what I'm understanding. Yes, it was absolutely. Because again, what I needed to know was that there was a market for what I was selling. And, people will tell you that they will buy it. They'll tell you it's a great idea, but until they actually pull their wallet out and pay you, you don't know. Now, Facebook ads, one of the reasons I have a criteria of $500 lifetime value is a couple things. It's not that you can't run Facebook ads when your lifetime value is less than that. You can, but there's just a lot less room for error. I mean, there are e-commerce businesses that are running Facebook ads on, razor thin margins. So it absolutely can be done. However, again, it's margin for error. And when you're first getting started, it makes it easier. So that $7.97 price or whatever it was that I was at, I was getting, really cheap leads. So at a $7.97 price point, that's still a very acceptable return if that's what you're asking. So for sure it was. Yeah. Okay, so Kevin says, yes, please. I'd love to know more about selling the course and then building it. Kevin, were you anonymous or were you someone else? What I would say is, by the way, I love chatting with people and I love, helping and coming up with solutions. So what I would say to all of you guys is, if that's you and you're like, would this be a fit, or how would I do this, or what do I do in the meantime to get to the point where I'm ready for it, then just call me, or schedule. I can, put a link. Well, you've got my email. Just, we'll schedule a time and we'll get on a call and we'll just talk about it. Nope, I was not. Gary is anonymous. Okay. Gary was anonymous. Yeah, more than happy to point you in the right direction on that. As you can tell, I think about most things kind of backwards from the way everybody else does. Okay, what else? Any other questions? Okay. If you do, you've got my email, you know where to find me. Just shoot them over, and I'll be happy to not anymore. That's true. I'd be more than happy to help. Okay, jump on a call, whatever we need to do. Okay, awesome. All right. So those were great questions. Thanks for those. So what I'd say now is, if you're ready to change your life and your business in just 12 weeks, then here's what you need to do. Just go to reverseyourfunnel.com and register. And again, to get all of this, all right, on the screen, including writing my first hook for you, and sending $200 to Best Friends Hurricane Relief Fund, then just go to reverseyourfunnel.com, apply, and I'll see you 1 week from today in the first live class. I'm Kim Snyder. Thanks for being here, y'all. I really appreciate your time and attention. I know how valuable it is. Let's get growing, huh?